Hello, everybody. You're welcome to our channel today. This is Saturday, and we are going to be sharing on adaptability in marriage. Adaptability in marriage. I hope you are enjoying all our content on YouTube. If you have not been watching them, I will encourage you to watch them, especially if you are married and you are planning to get married. So I encourage you to watch them. It will bless you. In fact, we focus on family oriented content that can help develop and build a happy, joyous, successful family life. We're learning a lot from those informations that we're putting out there. So there's so much to learn from. So today, I want to talk about adaptability in marriage. Adaptability in marriage, or what you will call flexibility. How important is adaptability? How important is flexibility in marriage? And that aspect is what I want to deal with today. Is being flexible the key to a successful, happy marriage life? Is being flexible the key? Is it possible through flexibility that one can have a happy, improved, happy marriage, successful life, and family home, family life? Is it possible? Yes, it is. According to the research and biblical principles, it is possible. And one of the problem, the reason I'm talking about this is because lack of adaptability is one of the major problems in marriages today. I told you, when we share informations, we are dealing with facts, we're dealing with realities. Inability to adapt has become major problems in families, in relationships, in marriages today. And we're trying as much as possible to deal with the subject with the mindset that it is possible to be flexible. It is possible to adapt. It doesn't matter what circumstances you're in your marriage, as a husband, as a wife. It's possible. So we want to look at that today. First of all, we want to look at the context, the subject matter, adaptability in marriage. The lack of it caused a lot of problems. It caused division, it caused quarrels, it caused disunity, it leads to divorce, it leads to separate. In fact, have you ever heard a statement like this? We are not compatible. When people start saying, I don't think I'm compatible to this man, I don't think I'm compatible to this woman, we are not compatible. Do you know what is actually being said? We are not adaptable. It also shows that none of them is actually intentionally thinking about being flexible. So the flexibility, just a minute, the flexibility in the relationship is important. Flexibility is important. So none of them is looking at that. So they say, well, he does what he likes. He does his things. I don't understand. And then that one says, she does his thing. He has her things. I don't understand. So both are pointing fingers to each other. And what they're actually saying is, look, we are not adaptable. We can adapt. So they use another word to deceive the relationship, to deceive the marriage, as though that is a problem. They say we are not compatible. Compatibility is actually something you become, not something you are. I don't know if I'll be able to say much about that today. We'll talk about that. But it's not something you are, it's something you become. You become compatible. I don't know if you get that. Some people want to think that they are compatible, so they have to marry someone that they are compatible with. So question is, what makes you compatible with anyone? Anyway, let's get to the subject. We are talking about adaptability in marriage. Now, I like to go in the direction of biblical concepts because that's where truth lies. The system of this world, the social life that people live, other people's experiences by way of try and error, is not sustainable. If I was to look at the system of the world and what the world system has delivered to individual husbands and wives, and then try to understand their perspective and experiences from there, I might shipwreck because it's not sustainable, it's not durable. So I like to go with what can sustain me. I like to go with what can be durable, what can be reliable, that which is sustainable, and that is truth. And truth is biblical. Truth is the word from the Bible, the scriptures. That's truth. So I like to use the truth to define errors. I like to use the truth to correct errors, to rebuke it, to remove it, to correct myself, to align myself if I'm going the wrong way. I like to use truths because it's durable. You see, because it's durable, it's reliable, it's certain, and it's reality. Truth is reality. So that's why when I look at the problems of marriage, when I look at the problems in relationship and family lives, when I look at those problems, I look at the solution that is sustainable, the solution from the biblical perspective that is sustainable, which is proven with examples from the scriptures. And then I'll stay on that. I rest my case on that because you see, that's where truth really is. If you want to stop someone from, if you want to, let's say someone have a problem of infidelity and he or she cheats on her spouses. If you want to stop all of that, you can use the system of the society. You can use the system of the media. You can use the system of the world. No, it will not work. It's not sustainable. You see, you need to use the biblical principles, which is truth, to correct the error. And that's what I'm doing today. Lack of adaptability has brought many marriages to their knees. And that is my concern, to treat the error and to learn from it and apply the principles. So I will encourage you to stay tuned and learn something that will change the course of your relationship and make you happy over time. Now, looking at the biblical concept, I would like to define the word adaptability in marriage. I would like to refer to that. Let's look at what it means. I wrote something down here I'd like to read to you. And I want you to think with me as I thought through. I want you to think with me as I read this stuff. Nice. Adaptability in marriage refers to a couple's ability to adjust, grow, and accommodate each other's needs. Now, if you're watching me, I will encourage you to get a writing material, especially if your husband, your wife, get a writing material now. And if you're young, write now because this is the best time to learn it. I wish I have learned much earlier about marriage and prepare myself. I wish I was taught much earlier. So now you're fortunate to hear this. Write down, take notes, make your own notes. Have a library of this information for your future. It's going to help you. Okay? So I'll go over it again. Adaptability in marriage refers to a couple's ability to adjust, grow, and accommodate each other's needs, personalities, and circumstances. Did you hear that? Let me say that again. Adaptability in marriage, flexibility in marriage, so to say, refers to a couple's ability to adjust. You see, the ability to adjust. You can't keep saying we are not compatible. No, you see, the idea of saying we are not compatible, that's my problem. No, you talk like that, you are just not working. You're not working the marriage. You're just a complainer. You're not working the marriage. Adjust. See, your ability to adjust to your partner's needs, to your partner's personality, to your partner's circumstances. Did you get that? Your ability to grow into your partner's personality, grow with your partner's circumstances, grow. Your ability to accommodate them, your ability to accommodate their needs, their desires, their personality, your ability to adapt, accommodate. That's what we're dealing with. Adjust, accommodate, grow. So 3 key words: adjust, grow, and accommodate. These are the key factors of adaptability. You cannot adapt if you're not willing to grow. Ooh, that's a strong one. That's a strong one. If you're not willing to grow in your marriage, if you're not willing to grow in your relationship, if you're not willing to make it better, you cannot think of adaptability. You can't adapt. You can't be flexible. You see, if you're not willing to accommodate your spouse, you will not learn to be adaptable. You will not learn to be flexible. You will not want to. You will not think of it. Rather, you'll be picking offenses, seeing what is wrong, and seeing why you should not be where you are. You see, you're thinking, why I should live here now. I don't think I should be in this marriage. You're looking at the wrong thing because you are not willing to accommodate. So you're not willing to adjust. So adaptability is the reference to this couple's ability to grow, to adjust, and to accommodate their spouse's desire, their spouse's needs, their spouse's personality, their spouse's circumstances. You see, this is what it means. Now, lack of this, when a partner or a spouse or a husband or a wife is not willing to accommodate, when a husband or a wife is not willing to adjust, when a husband or wife is not willing to grow in regard to the circumstances, the personality, and the needs of their partner, then that is what we define as lack of adaptability. And that can bring a lot of problems. You can see, even without listing them, you can literally outline the whole problem that will come out of that. And many homes and marriages have been going through all of that all these years. It's, in fact, from the beginning of the dating time to marriage, and they didn't even know how important that thing is, that they need to change. So very important. Very important. So the reason why I so much rely on the biblical view, the biblical view, God's view, biblical view, the view of God concerning this is because that's what durable, that's certainty, that is truth. That's what it makes me feel. God is concerned about my marriage. God is interested about how happy and how joyous my home should be. You get it? So I'm interested in that. I like it when God is interested in it. So what? What are the key important areas that God uses to address the... If you check the scriptures, you may not see the word adaptability. You may not see it. You may not see the word adaptable. You may not see it in regards to the teachings of marriages, but you will see synonyms, words that are similar to it, words that are referenced to it, words that broke it down in a smaller, simple term for anybody to understand. So don't go about searching the Bible adaptability. You won't find that. But I want to help you today to understand some of the tenses that are used to describe flexibility in marriage. Okay? And the scriptures that actually show us how this is, how we can recognize it and act and apply it in our marriage. So the most important thing to flexibility or adaptability in the scripture is patience. You will find the word patience. You will find the word mutual submission. Mutual submission. You will find these words. These are words they use to foster adaptability or foster a healthy, lasting relationship based on flexibility and adaptability in marriage. Okay, so I would like to take some verses now. I will read them. I'm not going to put them on the screen because I am not. I'm streaming live. This is not video edited stuff. We are not video editing right now. This is streaming. I'm just streaming direct. So I'm the one doing it, just streaming. So you listen, take down notes, take the scriptures down, and read it all for yourself by yourself later on. But follow what I'm about to share with you. Because we want to look at the scriptures view, the Bible view, God's view regarding this, and then we'll compare to what we have been doing and living for. So the first verse I want to look at, which is key right now, key verses. These are key verses in the scriptures on adaptability in marriage. Write it down so you know. If you're taking the verses, you know what verses are for. Okay? These are key Bible verses that I find that are on the subject of adaptability in marriage and how it speaks to us today. Ephesians chapter number 5 verse 21. Ephesians chapter number 5 verse 21. It says, submit to one another out of reverence for Christ. Look at that. Submit to one another. So here it deals with mutual submission. Mutual. Submit to one another. So he's saying, hey, have a reverence. Okay? Respect and value yourselves as partners, as spouses. So you respect your spouse. Your spouse will respect you. You respect your spouse. Your spouse will respect you. Value them. They will value you. So he says, have this mutual submission in reverence for Christ. So he says, out of reverence. Out of. That means take from what you are learning in your submission to Christ, to God. Use that and apply it to your marriage. So be submissive. You can't get into argument with Christ. You can't get into fight with Christ. So don't do it to your husband. Don't do it to your wife. So he says, submit. You get the simplicity of that. So question is, why is that so important to adaptability? Because you see the verse emphasize mutuality in submission, which is central to adaptability, flexibility. Because you can't submit if you are not flexible. You can't submit if you are not adaptable. Therefore, you cannot be adaptable if you do not submit. Do you get it? If you are not submissive, you cannot be adaptable. You cannot change. You cannot be flexible enough for a change. You cannot be flexible to the personality of your spouse. It will become difficult because submission, the mindset to bring yourself under the person, is too high for you. So for that, no adaptability, no flexibility. So this verse is actually addressing the need for husband and wife to serve each other and yield to one another. So you yield to one another's needs. You yield to one another's desire. You yield to one another's personalities. Showing respect and reverence. Valuing each other. That's the key to value your spouse. Say lack of this will cause problem. Number 2, Ecclesiastes chapter number 4 from verse 9 to 12. I like to read this verse all the time because it teaches a lot about, it teaches a lot about partners, husband and wife, how they should walk and live together in unity. Listen, I read from verse 9. Ecclesiastes 9, chapter 4, verse 9 and 12. 9 to 12. 9 to 12. Two are better than one because they have a good return for their labor. This is wonderful. This is nice. He said two are better than one because he told us why. Because they have good return on their investment. I like it. He said they have good return. So just because you think you have all the ideas, you have all the smartness, all of the skills, you think you can chase the business, chase the work, and do everything by yourself, he said you're wrong. He says you could do it, that's fine, but you want to get a better result, you want to get more than what you are having now, you want to get a result that is higher than what you're experiencing now, he says, hey, work together. Two are better. Two of you are better than one. That's the principle. And he says, because you will have a good return. So if you are putting one effort, just your effort alone into this thing, he says, the return you're getting is not enough. It's not going to be enough. You want more return. He says, then work together. Now, why is he dealing with this? Look at the next verse. It says, if either of them falls, if one of them or any of them falls, or falls down, fail, or lose, or become discouraged, or has a loss, it says one can help the other up. So if the other one falls, it says the other who is standing can help him up. Two of them will become standing. It says that is why it's better. And then how does that affect us as couples in adapting to one another? Oh no, don't you get it? It's not possible. If you are not adaptable, it's not possible to work together. You can't work marriages where you find that husband and wife are not working together, they are not united. It is obvious they are not practicing adaptability. It means the principle of unity is not at work. And there is no principle of unity really working if you are not adaptable, if you are not flexible. It takes flexibility and adaptability to encourage the principle of unity and teamwork. So you're able to tolerate the nonsense of the other. You are able to adjust yourself to the other so that you can work together. You see. The reason why you find that most spouses don't do businesses together, they don't plan together, is because they feel that they are not adaptable, or they feel that they are not compatible with each other. So he doesn't know my kind of business, or she doesn't know my kind of business. She doesn't understand it. If I talk, so there's this assumption that the other person doesn't get it. So no flexibility. Come on. You want to get better results, you gotta learn to be flexible with him or with her. So this passage highlights the strength and support that comes from unity. So in marriage, adaptability is seen in how couples lift each other up and adjust to life challenges together. This is where adaptability goes, where you find yourself working together and lifting each other up. You're lifting each other up. As you're growing, your partner is growing with you. As you're moving forward, your partner is moving forward with you. It will be hardly difficult to tell who is making what, who is doing what, because together, everyone is growing. Together, everyone is moving forward. Even in the time of challenges, you see, you help each other up. Nobody knows. The third party doesn't know who is doing what. But you see, you know within yourselves that you're moving forward as partners. You're growing together. That's what he's talking about. You see, if you're not flexible, you're not adaptable, that will not happen. It will be very difficult for that to play out. You see that? Now, another verse. Philippians chapter number 2. Philippians chapter number 2. Philippians chapter number 2. From verse 3 to 4. I want you to see this. From verse 3 to 4. Do not or do nothing out of selfish ambition. Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceits. Rather, in humility, value each other above yourselves. In humility, value each other above yourselves. Not looking to your own interests, but each of you to the interests of the others. So, did you notice? It says, hey, in humility, I know you have an ambition, okay? It says, don't be selfish with your ambition. God is not against that you are ambitious, but it says, don't be selfish with your ambition. It says, do nothing out of it, out of selfish ambition. Do nothing. That means don't relate with your spouse in such a way that only you are pursuing this thing and you are pushing everyone aside. It's all about yourself. You're doing it because of you. You are after this because of you, because of how you feel, because of you. You're not concerned about any other person. It's all about you. Selfish ambition. It's me. What I can do, what I'm going to get, what I have, how I'm going to get it. And then when I got it, this is what I'm going to do. I, me, I. That's the language of an ambitious, selfish person. So he says, instead of behaving like that, in humility. So what does that mean? It takes humility to be adaptable. For you to adjust to your partner's desire, partner's needs, and grow to their needs, and then become accommodative to accommodate them and live in correspondence with each other. He says it requires humility, humbleness. It takes humility. To value your partner, it takes humility. Because pride will make you not to value them. Pride will make you not to see them that they are relevant. You see, pride will make you look at them as inconsequential, irrelevant to whatever you're doing. It's pride. That's what the Bible is saying. You don't tell them what you're doing. You don't want them to know. These are your partner. These are your spouses. You think they are going to make you drown, or you think that they will stop you from doing it. So you just go pursue whatever you're pursuing. And all of this is going on. And whoever your partner is can see that. So he says, stop behaving like that. Don't do anything out of that. He says, in humility, value each other above yourself. Not looking to your own interests. Don't do things because of what you are going to gain. Do it because of what we are going to gain. Oh boy, did you see the difference? I'm not doing it because of what I'm going to gain. I'm doing it because of what we are going to gain. It will benefit me. It will benefit my wife. It will benefit my children. It will benefit my husband. It will benefit my children. You're thinking like that. That's the way he's talking about. He says, hey, do things that will benefit everyone, not just you. Look at that. He said, not looking to your own interest, but each of you to the interest of others. You see, that means look at the interest of everyone. Do it to benefit everybody. Get into the job or businesses you're trying to do because of what you have in mind for everyone. Not because of what you want to get. Not what you want to have. Not because of how you want to feel. And it's easy when you do that to get everyone along. So this verse speaks to humility. It speaks to humility needed in marriage. You see, where adaptability is about prioritizing the needs of your spouse over your personal desires and needs. So it says to do that, you need humility. You need to be humble. You need humility. It takes humility to make that happen. And that's what he's talking about in that verse. Now, the next verse I want to talk about is Colossians chapter 3. Did you get something from there? Let's read Colossians chapter 3. Write it down. Write these verses down. Write it down and study it for yourself. Colossians chapter number 3, verse 13. These are great biblical principles. He says, bear with each other and forgive one another. Hey, did you hear that? Bear with each other. But he's not compatible. I'm not compatible with him. No, he said bear. Bear with each other. You already in the marriage. He said bear with each other. And forgive one another. And forgive one another. If any of you has a grievance, if any of you have a grievance against someone, forgive as the Lord forgave you. So what is he talking about? Adaptability involves forgiveness. You see, it takes forgiveness to be able to know that I can accommodate this my imperfect partner because I see that myself, I am not perfect. You see, so whenever he do or she does something wrong, I'm able to look from my imperfect eyes, imperfect mind and eyes to say, you know what? He deserves mercy. He deserves forgiveness because he's not perfect. She's not perfect. That is the complete definition of adaptability. It is when you see the imperfections in your partner and bear with them through your imperfecting mind, because you yourself, you are not perfect. You know. So you know that you are work in progress. This you are work in progress. Nothing. Who told you that there is somebody perfect out there for you? Do you know that this language they use all the time? How to get the perfect mate, how to get the perfect man, how to get the perfect woman, how to get the perfect husband, how to become perfect. There's nothing of such. All of those gimmick, all of those languages are deception. When you get married, you know, especially if you study life, you know, those things does not exist. There's nothing like perfect. No, there's nothing like perfect. You see, every perfectionist, study them. At the end of their life, they regret being perfectionists. Study them. They regret all the time because they have pushed a lot of people away from their lives. They have destroyed a lot of people, a lot of relationships and opportunities without knowing, because they're expecting everyone to be perfect. Oh, he must be. He could do it perfectly. I like the way he's spotless. There's nothing like that. So, forgive. In building this kind of relationship, you need to learn to forgive. So forgiveness, through forgiveness, you are applying the principle of adaptability to your marriage. You see, you're bringing in patience. You see, when adjusting to imperfections, you are adjusting to imperfections of your spouses, adjusting to their imperfection. How important that is. So when you do this, it will foster the spirit and the grace of marriage. It will foster it. It fosters the grace, the spirit of grace in the marriage. Every marriage has graces. Every marriage receives graces. There are grace. You see, grace, Grace, grace. Every marriage has grace. Rest on them. You can either frustrate that grace in your marriage or foster it. The question is, which one are you doing? Are you frustrating the grace or you are fostering it? Paul said, I will not frustrate the grace of God. So you don't frustrate the grace of marriage that is in you, that is in your marriage. That grace, the spirit of grace that is in your marriage. Don't frustrate it. Very important. Okay. Now, those are the scriptures I wanted to share with you. Now, let's look at biblical examples. One or two biblical examples, and we'll look at the principles, and then we'll run it up today. Two more things to do. We're going to look at some principles, some biblical examples, and then we'll look at the principles aligned with it. You ready for this? So let's look at this. Have you ever studied the book of Genesis from chapter 12 to chapter 16? If you haven't studied it, I want you to take it down and read. It's about the marriage experience of Sarah and Abraham. Of course, there are a lot of other documents in there, but the experience, if you could study it within the line with the eyes of a married person, you will understand the role of adaptability that each of them played to ensure success together. In fact, read all the way to chapter 21, you get the details. Now, I will just paraphrase that example for you. Abraham and Sarah had to adapt to several significant changes in their lives. Remember, Abraham was a sojourner. He was always traveling from place to place. Just think about that. They are here today this week. The next week, they're moving to another place. God said he would tell his wife, God told me to move, to go to another place. We are moving. And then there was this, you don't know when we're going to move again. So the wife had to learn to adapt to that lifestyle. Flexible. That's the only way he was able to move from one place to another. Because he has the wife that was able to understand, flexible enough to adapt, to grow into the newness of this experience with God. So they have to move from new lands, new country, new city to another, from tent to tent. Read about it, it's amazing. And you never hear that the wife complained about anything, because she learned to understand and adapt. What about when they were barren for a long time? No child, nothing, no fruit of the womb, until she became old. How do you explain that kind of flexibility, adjustment to the new circumstances of the fact that it is now in terms that we can't have children anymore? They are thinking like that. You see. So it shows that their adaptability was tested. Their flexibility in marriage was tested. Especially when Sarah suggested that Abraham should go and lie down and make babies with Sarah's maid, Hagar. Think about that. Think about that scenario. If you were to play that out in your house as a couple, let's assume that should be a situation that you face. Think about it. How would you manage that environment, that circumstances? What kind of adjustment will you have gotten into yourself into? Abraham need to adjust. Both of them were trying to adjust and adapt to the circumstances of the fact that they couldn't have their own child. Let's make one. My goodness. I think about that as a wow. Of course, they were going to face the emotional consequences. They know there were so much emotional consequences. They thought about it. They knew it. Sarah didn't marry, and they went ahead and did it, and they had a child, Ishmael. They had a child. Wow. So when you study them, it's okay. What about this part? Did you notice when Abraham went to Egypt out of famine in Haran? He went to Egypt, or in Canaan. There was famine in Canaan. So he went to Egypt. And when he got to Egypt, the king there was King Abimelech. He says in Gerar, also they call it Gerar, Gerah. The city, the king there was called King Abimelech. You know, in the Bible days, when a foreigner, a stranger come to a new city, everyone knows, especially the way you dress, the way you look. If you don't look like them, it's obvious. So what they do is they cry out, they make a town cry. Immediately the king will know that a stranger is in the town. That's how it was in the Bible days. So when Abraham went to Egypt, it was obvious he didn't look like an Egyptian. He was looking different. He didn't dress like one. So everyone knew he was a stranger. So immediately the king got to know. You know what Abraham said? Abraham said, listen, Sarah, listen, you know, this is a matter of life and death. I want you to just deny me as your husband for this period. Decide to be my sister. I know you are my sister anyway, but remove the aspect of husband. Don't tell anyone that I'm your husband. Tell them that you are my sister. You are my sister only. In fact, the king is going to send for us because they already know that we are here. So if the king called you and asked you any question, tell the king that you are my sister. Because you are too beautiful, my wife. You are too beautiful. If they find out that you are my wife, they will kill me and take you. And that's it, I'm done. And I'm thinking, what was Sarah thinking about? What was going through her mind? Sometimes I journey in the thoughts as I meditate on these things. It's like I'm sitting down with them in their living room as they were discussing. And I'm thinking, what is going through her mind right now? What is she thinking? Amazing. She thought, wait a minute. You mean? So they would have debated it. They would have, contemplated the matter and then conclude, okay, fine, I will say. And imagine oh my goodness, what flexibility, what an adaptability, what a consciousness. She was mindful. She was intentional. Yes, that's what it is. That's what it is. And now, another example is Priscilla. You read about Priscilla and Aquila. Priscilla and Aquila were in the book of Acts. So write it down. This is a reference. Acts chapter 18. Read the whole chapter. Acts chapter 18. These were very, very committed believers, and they were husband and wives, and they were specialized in building tents. So two of them, everyone know them to build tents. They build houses, and that's what their work. That was their business. That was their deal, and they were faithful in it. But what struck me most in the story is how they were able to make an adaptation. They were able to adjust, become flexible to ministerial work. They were full-time partners in the ministry, teaching the scriptures, teaching people about everything about God. They were busy as though they had nothing doing. They were able to adjust. They were able to, blend into ministry work, adjust. They were able to grow. They were able to, accommodate the ministry with their work as architect. They were busy. They were busy, but they worked together to teach, to help. And their experience and their example portray and demonstrate adaptability in balancing work, ministry, and marriage. I learned something from there. So I was able to learn that through their life, they were able to balance work. They were able to balance ministry. They were able to balance marriage. There was no conflict. Study about it. It will bless you. So even in their work to serve others and do other things outside themselves, they were able to take their individual roles. They were able to take their individual roles and responsibility. Wonderful. Another example is Ruth and Boaz. If you read the book of Ruth, read our book, chapter 3 to chapter 4, you will learn some things from her experience. After Ruth became a widow, the husband died. She had to learn to adapt to a new environment. because she had to move away from her village and follow Naomi, which is the mother-in-law. And that was new. She had to change environment, and she had to adapt to the new circumstances of her life. So when she got to marry Boaz through divine intervention, she had to learn what it means to be an Israelite. She was not an Israelite. She had to learn to show humility and patience and willingness to adapt to the new way of the culture, a new lifestyle. I mean, come on, she was with another man for some time before the man passed on. Now she's not getting married to another man with a new, different ideology, different personality, different culture, and different belief system. And guess what? She was able to adapt. And that's why Boaz chose her as a woman for her. And that brought her restoration and peace. So through adaptability, she was able to achieve. She was able to achieve. So study. If you want to learn more about adaptability, study the book of Ruth. Her life is a testimony of that. Okay. Now, having given you some few examples from the scriptures, let's look at the biblical principles now that you can apply. So this is the principle. Number one, this is a principle you can apply today in your marriage. Practice mutual submission. That's number one. Practice mutual submission. In your marriage, both of you as husband and wife should seek to submit to one another's needs. One another's needs. One another's needs. One another's needs. So you have to learn to compromise. You have to learn to compromise. You have to be emotionally supportive. To do this, you have to be emotionally supportive. You have to do this. Help each other to grow. Very important. That's number one. Number two, embrace flexibility role. Embrace flexibility in role taking. That's the word. Embrace flexibility in taking roles. In taking roles. What does that mean? What does that mean? Look at Priscilla and Aquila. Like I said to you, they learned something. They learned to share responsibility. As husband and wife, learn to share responsibility. Husbands learn to take some responsibilities. Wives learn to take some responsibilities, whether in career, whether in family life. It does not matter what it is. Share responsibility. Be flexible enough to take some tasks on board. Okay? Because all of this will help reduce the stresses from one end. Very important. And it will create balance in working together as husband and wife. Number three, prioritize forgiveness. Prioritize forgiveness and patience in your marriage. Start today. Put forgiveness and patience in front of you as number one thing that you must implement. Try that. Practice it. It will change a lot of things. In times of difficulty, in times of conflicts, when personality clashes, it doesn't matter whether you clash in your personality or not. It doesn't matter. Apply forgiveness and be patient for restoration. Be patient for growth, because forgiveness and patience are crucial elements for most successful couples today. It is what is important for a successful marriage today. So you must learn to adapt to your partner's expectation. You must learn to adapt to their work through whether issues of work, issues at home. Learn to adjust, forgive, bear with one another. Let the spirit of grace in that marriage strive. You get it? Let it strive. Let there be understanding. Okay? Number four, rely on God's guidance through change. When you go through changes in your marriage, rely on God's guidance. Okay? That's the way to adapt. You have to rely on God's guidance. Look at Ruth. If you study the book of Ruth, her life was a guidance from God. How she relied on that guidance. From chapter 3 to chapter 4, study it. You see. So, as life circumstances changes, as life circumstances evolve, whether through your job, whether through your finances, it doesn't matter what challenges, whether through your health issues, as couples, we can learn from the Ruth story that we just read. We can learn from Ruth how she adapted, how she became flexible, trusting God during those sections of transitions. So in your marriage, there are sections of transitions. And as you transit from one level to another, through age, through activities, through travels, changing of environment, whatever job, career, finances, as you transit from one level to another, you must learn to support each other. You must learn to trust God's guidance in every step and lean on each other to grow. Depend on each other to grow together and be strong. Very important. And number 5, lastly, number 5, build a foundation of communication and prayer. In your marriage, you must build a foundation of communication and prayer. A prayerless marriage and a non-communicative marriage is doomed already. It's bound to die. It's just heading to the rocks. It's going to crash. There's nothing you do about it. You don't pray, you don't communicate. It's heading to the door. It's heading out. There's nothing that can stop that marriage from stopping except you address these two things: communication and prayer. If you study the life of Abraham and Sarah, you will see that their level of adaptability requires communication. They were able to adapt because they communicated. Abraham will not just wake up and say, "We are leaving today." He had to discuss with the wife. There's so many discussions. Even some of the examples I share with you, there were a lot of discussions that had to go on. Did you notice before, when Sarah was tired of Hagar becoming very disrespectful to her because she's pregnant and have a child, and then started using her against Sarah? Did you know what she said? She addressed it and called Abraham and said, "This is your fault, too. This is all your fault. You better send this woman away if you want peace in this house." Now, it might look as though she sounded quarrelsome with Abraham, but that was not the case. Because Abraham needed to take the case to God in prayer. You see, communication and prayer. Communication and prayer. So the woman communicated the issue. The man took it to prayer. And when they prayed, that doesn't mean that the man should always pray for those things. Everyone can pray. Both of you can pray together. But there was a prayer section. So the man prayed, and God said, "Obey your wife. Do what your wife has said. Send the woman away. In fact, I did not approve this issue in the first place. So send her." Well, you got it. So prayer is important. Now, this is it. I hope you learned something today. I've been able to share some things with you that will change your life. Listen, if you enjoy this section, watch the video again, share it with others, and send us a message. Make your comment. Whatever you think you don't agree with, also make your comment in the comment section. But I pray that the gift that God will give you and give us the gift for grace for a successful marriage life and the opportunity to grow together in love and unity, and that God will help us as couples, as married individuals, to be adaptable and flexible in our relationships, submitting to one another in love as God has taught us to do. I'm praying that God will grant you and I, will grant us the humility to put each other's, our partners, our partner's needs and desires above ourselves, above our own, and that we'll be patient to walk through life challenges hand to hand. In the name of Jesus Christ, I pray that God will guide us and give us the direction to always follow in every area of every transitionary state of our lives, and providing for us all that we need in our marriage. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you so much. God bless you. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed yourself, and I'll be back again next week for another nice section and episode to discuss. Don't miss it. If you're new to our YouTube channel, you're watching, subscribe, hit the like button, and turn on the bell notification for every week like this Saturday, 6 p.m. UK time. I'm always on your screen. And sure you're watching. God bless you. Bye for now.